Welcome all. Thank you for joining us today as we close out the year and spotlight the features, improvements, and compliance priorities that will set you up for a strong start in the year ahead. A bit about us. My name is Ash, and I'm the product enablement designer here at Wisenet. I'll be kicking off the session by walking you through the key improvements and new features we've delivered this year and how these enhancements are designed to reduce operational friction, strengthen governance, and improve your learner and admin experience. I'm then joined by Michelle, our customer success specialist, and our in-house compliance expert, who will deep dive into end-of-year reporting requirements and critical compliance updates. Michelle works hands-on with training organizations every day, helping them translate regulatory requirements into practical, sustainable operational processes. And by the end of this session, you'll have a clear view of what's changed, what's required, and how to confidently complete your end of the year reporting. A few housekeeping items before we begin. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available to all registered participants later this week for your reference. I've included some key resource links on the main slides, which you can click and access for more information. We welcome questions and feedback, so you can submit your questions at any time via the Q&A or the chat function. I'll address them at the end of the presentation. And alternatively, if you would prefer to ask your question live, simply raise your hand and I'll unmute your microphone at the appropriate time. All right, this year has been about performance, scalability, and operational maturity. We've delivered strategic enhancements across our e-learning connectors, filtering and bulk action capabilities, finance workflows, credentials, and automated grading, all designed to reduce that manual overhead and strengthen your data integrity. On the feature front, we have expanded capability to support stronger course and qualification management, introduced support cases. We've unlocked more intelligent automation to ensure Wisenet remains future-ready, compliant, and highly extensible. Now, the focus has been simple, more control, more visibility, and less friction. Now, we've also strengthened how we communicate change. This year we redesigned the What's New page and introduced developer updates to ensure you have clear visibility of what has changed and when. We'll continue to strengthen how we communicate changes throughout the new year with clearer, more consistent updates, so you always know what's evolving and why. And you'll start seeing this come through in every release moving forward. In the second part of this webinar, Michelle will walk you through the critical end of the year compliance and data readiness priorities, including key reporting dates, course and learner audits, enrollment and outcome code updates, any data integrity checks that you can perform, exports, and of course the latest STARS or the VET data streamlining project updates. All right, before we go into the maintenance part and what you need to do for compliance, other things, let's talk about modernization, what we have actually built in this year. Now, one of the most impactful features we delivered this year is support cases designed to streamline issue management, improve turnaround times, and give you greater visibility and control over how learner and operational requests are handled. Now, support cases is a learner-facing ticketing system built right into Wisenet. This allows your learners to submit a support case from within the learner app. It's flexible enough to handle all types of queries, from course extensions, complaints, leave requests to pastoral or well-being concerns. And your staff can track, escalate, and resolve these support cases from within Wisenet LRM. With AI capability, your team can train the system using your organization's specific learner case types, whether they're academic queries or pastoral care requirements. You can use AI to suggest clear, context-appropriate responses with just one click, helping your staff save time while maintaining a high level of professionalism and consistency. Now, your support cases was released last month. You would have got a lot of notifications from us, and it's part of your subscription. But if you have not already, started implementing and using it, now's the time. And I will be taking you through some of these features today as well. Now, as I said, it's not a generic help desk tool, right? It's purpose built for RTOs or training providers like you. You can set up teams by department, define your escalation workflows, categorize case types, and store sensitive notes securely. Your learners can create and submit support cases from the main profile tab on the top right corner. The support page also will have a history of all their cases, and they can reply from within the app itself. From the admin side within LRM, you will see the case settings tab. You'll have the categories with the option to create case categories based on the type of cases you receive from your learners. For example, you can create categories like fee payment, course progress, leave, sensitive care, or complaints, and so on. You can set default priority assigned to staff or team whether it is restricted. Cases that are categorized as restricted can only be accessed by a specific staff or a team. There's also an option to subscribe to the case if you require access to the restricted case, which can be updated from within the case itself. All right, next, there are 5 different email templates that are available to be customized for notification purposes to notify the learner, staff, and other subscribed team members when a case is submitted or updated. As you can see, the first tab is the general settings, which will have one option for now with a dedicated support email address. If you're not ready to roll out the Learner app, you can share this email with your learners. When they send a message, it automatically creates a case in Wisenet. Now, this isn't as seamless as the in-app experience. However, it provides an alternative for organizations not yet ready to use the Learner app. Now, before I go into creating a case, I'm going to talk about teams. So we've introduced the new tab within the staff section to create teams. You can create any number of teams and add staff members to these teams. The staff member should have a profile in the staff section for you to be able to assign them to a team. And the same staff can be in multiple teams. This is required if you want to assign cases to teams rather than an individual staff member. You can assign the case to a staff as well as the team. When a case is submitted, either through the Learner app or email, you'll see it on this cases main page. You'll receive when you receive a phone call or a face-to-face request, you can still manually create a case by clicking on the Create New Case option on the top right corner. You can choose the relevant learner, add further details of the queries related to their course or unit enrollment, pick a category, assign it to the right staff or team, choose whether it needs to be restricted. If it is, then are there any subscribers who need to have access to this case? Now, the subscriber, as I said, is usually someone that is not part of the assigned team or is the staff. Then you can choose your priority, whether low, medium, or high, or critical, add a subject, initial internal note, any files that you want to attach and save. You can update the case details as required even after creating the case. You can escalate it to another team or staff member by reassigning the case as well. You can also reply to the learner or add an internal note before sending to another team member. Now, by default, the case status is set to open. You have the option to set the case to solved, merge it into another case if the learner has submitted similar cases, as well as archive the case once closed. If using the AI option, each time you work on a case, you can click the Train AI option at the top right corner. Now, this allows the AI to capture the nature of the issue and how it is being handled. It stores the structure and resolution approach. It doesn't store any personal data or case-sensitive content. And over time, it builds a rich memory of resolution strategies for different case types within your organization. And over time, this helps the system to provide you with more intelligent responses when you generate an AI response. Now, at the moment, when you use the generate AI response, obviously it'll give you a very generic draft response because you're just starting using this feature. And based on the scenario, it may not even follow your internal processes, but obviously you can customize the response once you've generated the AI response, add in the relevant details before sending it to the learner. You can click Train AI at any point in the process to capture the approach for future use. And I'm sure this will certainly cut down on the time spent drafting, professional responses by your staff. To activate AI capabilities within Wisenet cases, you must connect your Wisenet account to your OpenAI API key. This integration allows your account to securely access AI-powered features while maintaining control over data privacy and compliance. All right, lastly, when you're ready to implement the cases, in the learner app settings, toggle the show cases option so the learners can log tickets from within the learner app. And alternatively, as I mentioned earlier, even though not the best approach, you can share the support email address with the learners to send a request via the email. With that, I would like to introduce another Wisenet's newest feature, automation. This is an early access feature and only few of our premium customers have access to this. Now, what makes automation powerful isn't just that it saves time, it actually adapts. If you're using learn cycles, then you know that traditionally the workflows run on rigid rules, but in the real world, things aren't that simple. Learners have different statuses, outcomes change, activities vary, and your systems need to think like the way you do. That's where these new capabilities come in. You can have multiple values, field updates, and custom conditions mean your automations respond dynamically to real data. You can trigger workflows from any learner activity. You can combine complex scenarios with the OR logic and use your own custom fields to make automations uniquely yours. A tremendous amount of thought, has gone into designing these features, from identifying the first trigger entities to support to defining conditions, evaluators, activity types that truly align with your day-to-day operations. Now, every element that has been built has one goal in mind, so powerful automation that means simple to use. Now, you start by entering your trigger details, choosing both the trigger entity and the trigger type. A trigger is kind of the event that starts your automation. Triggers ensure your workflows launch at exactly the right moment. Trigger entities, it's kind of the type of record the automation is based on. We currently support course enrollment, unit enrollment, quote, and course offer. And there are trigger types, which is the kind of change that fires the automation. So at the moment you have the entity created. That means when a record is added, and entity updated, which is when an existing record changes. Each automation has one trigger, but you can attach multiple conditions and actions to make it powerful and comprehensive. So for example, in this automation that I've showed you here, I've set it up to update the course enrollment status based on unit completion. So I've selected the trigger entity as unit enrollment and the trigger type as when updated. Next, you define the trigger conditions. Not every trigger should fire immediately. Conditions let you configure when an automation runs, ensuring only the right workflows execute under the right circumstances. Now, in this case, we only want the status to change when the unit outcome is competent. I've added an additional condition, so it also waits until the unit status is completed. That means the automation will only run when both the conditions are met. Once your triggers and conditions align, actions bring your automations to life. So it's where you decide what this automation should do. You can perform multiple actions, update fields against a unit offer, unit enrollment or a course enrollment, or even auto-enroll learners into additional units within the same course offer. So in this example, I've set it up to update the course enrollment once all the conditions are satisfied. You can also add action group conditions, for greater precision. For instance, instead of triggering as soon as one unit is completed, you can instruct the system to check that all unit outcomes are finalized before it updates the course status. Finally, you choose the action type. At the moment, the automation supports field updates and assessment data submission requests to LLM Robot and Kahoot. If you're trialing automation, you can also use it alongside learn cycles to combine the best of both tools. Now, to complete the setup, simply configure the update fields action to mark the course enrollment status is completed. So in a sense, you define your trigger entity, trigger type, conditions, and actions, and the automation takes care of the rest. All right. To give you an example of the assessment submission function, I just wanted to show you how it works with something like LLM Robot. Now, you can use automation to add a request for an assessment submission linked to a course enrollment. The learner and submission details are then sent to LLM Robot, which delivers the LLM assessment to the learner via an email invitation. Once the learner completes the quiz, LLM Robot processes the submission and returns the results to Wisenet. The assessment submission in Wisenet is then automatically updated to pending review for you to take any further actions. Automations can be configured using data from multiple entities. So another example here is if you want to enroll learners under the age of 18 into mandatory or prerequisite units, you can set up an automation triggered when the course enrollment is created. You can add one or multiple trigger condition groups to refine the automation. For instance, restricting by course, application status, or learners with a date of birth after a certain threshold. Finally, you can choose to enroll the learner into unit offers that are a certain unit type or meet criteria defined by a custom unit offer field. All right, if you didn't already know, custom fields is a feature you can use to create custom data fields to capture relevant information for your organization. All the Avidmas fields and other data fields required for your training organizations are already available in Wisenet. However, if you require any particular information to be captured, then you can create additional fields as required. Please note that this is only a premium edition feature. You can add these additional fields to application forms to automatically collect data from online enrollments via the Sales Plus. You can also add conditional formatting to your form fields to help capture the correct data from your learners. Now, this is not a new feature. This has been there in the system for a few years. I just wanted to bring it up in this webinar just to help you, apply these features for collecting accurate data. There were two key points that was published by Department of Employment and Workplace Relations. It said that 1 out of 8 compliance errors are due to human error during data re-entry. Imagine the time and effort you're spending copying data from those paper application forms to Wisenet. So step into 2026 with the enrollments flowing directly into Wisenet, no paperwork, no rework, no wasted effort, and Sales Plus makes this possible. You may have received an email from our marketing manager with reduced pricing, waived onboarding costs for December, and fast-tracked activation. There's never been a better time to modernize your enrollment process. You can book a time with Nalina at the end of the session. I'll talk more about this towards the end of the session so you can focus on what matters most. The other point was around most RTOs use 2 or more systems to manage learner data. I'm not opposed to that. In fact, I strongly believe in leveraging efficient systems to reduce workload. However, it's important to regularly assess whether these systems are truly saving time or if your teams are spending most of their effort duplicating data across these platforms. Automation is most powerful when systems work together, and that's exactly what we have achieved with Wisenet's e-learning integration. The moment a learner is ready to be given access to the course, resources and assessments, or when a learner completes a unit or receives a grade in your LMS, the data flows straight into Wisenet, updating enrollments, outcomes, and even triggering the next step in the learner journey. No duplicate entry, no delays, no inconsistencies, and now even RTOs without an e-learning platform can take advantage of AutoGrade using the same rule-based automation directly inside of Wisenet. This is what a truly connected ecosystem looks like. It's fast, it's accurate, and it's learner-centric. I'll take you through some of the key features that we implemented this year. You can enable automatic linking to seamlessly connect your e-learning courses with course offers or unit offers. Additionally, by turning on automatic enrollment, learners can be instantly enrolled and granted access to their courses based on your configured e-learning enrollment rules. Now, these rules can be configured based on course or unit enrollment statuses and outcomes, ensuring that access is granted only once the learner has commenced. And if a learner withdraws or cancels at any stage of their journey, their access can be automatically disabled. You can view real-time grade updates directly from the AutoGrade dashboard on your dashboard, which links to the AutoGrade activities page in the report section. And if any grades are skipped during processing, they'll appear under To Review for your confirmation and acknowledgement. You can configure AutoGrade rules to align with your processes. For example, you may choose to grade only learners with the current unit enrollment status, or enable options to grade failed results and override existing failed grades. So this two-way communication, sending learner and enrollment information to e-learning and receiving grade information back from your LMS to Wisenet LRM delivers a significant efficiency advantage for your organizations. It not only reduces the manual data entry again, but also ensures your data is consistent across systems, minimizing that human error. Now, many customers have asked whether AutoGrade rules can be applied to manually updated grades, specifically whether updating the final grade could automatically adjust related fields such as outcomes, dates, and grade points based on your organization's marking scheme. And in response, we extended the AutoGrade feature functionality this year to support manual grade updates, ensuring, again, consistency and efficiency across all your grading processes. You can create AutoGrade rules, assign them to unit offers, and use the set final grade with AutoGrade option on the unit enrollments. You can use this feature from multiple pages, the unit enrollment feature list, course offer unit enrollment page, as well as the individual learners unit enrollment page. You can add your final grade to the unit enrollment final column, and it'll automatically update the other fields as per the rules you've set up. I'd also like to talk about a few other features that work very well with e-learning integration and grades. The unit enrollment status field plays a very critical role across multiple areas. It can be leveraged in automations, learn cycles, e-learning enrollment rules, AutoGrade, as well as like qualification completions and more. And if you didn't already know, the grade point field is there against all, within the unit enrollment. So the grade point field can be used to record grade points at the unit level, enabling the calculation of an overall GPA at the qualification level, particularly valuable for higher education courses. If you are a higher education provider offering multi-year qualifications with majors, this feature will be particularly valuable. Qualifications currently available as an early access feature that can be enabled for your accounts if required. It allows you to create rule sets that automatically audit whether learners have met all the course requirements and determine the appropriate major that is to be awarded to them. Now, let's talk about another key part of your learner experience, payments. Now, Wisenet Finance provides an integrated solution specifically designed for RTOs to manage the accounts receivable lifecycle. You can send quotes directly to your sales contacts, learners, or workplaces and allow them to accept or decline online. Wisenet Finance also provides a more efficient way to manage debtor accounts, ensuring timely follow-ups and accurate records. Additionally, you can add funding records to accommodate students who are not fully fee paying, making it easier to track and manage all payment sources in one place. The account items provides a complete view of all finance items associated with the learner, including their linked enrollments and invoices. Account items are automatically added to a learner's account whenever they enroll in a course or unit offer that has a default fee schedule. Over time, all account items on the account should either be invoiced or removed, and invoices can be generated manually or automatically, giving you full control over the billing process while ensuring accuracy and consistency. Now you can see the entire list of invoices from within their Learner Finances tab, any payments, credit notes, any refunds, write-offs from the Learner Finance page. It also has any quotes you may have generated or discounts given to the learner. The learners can view and pay their invoices online, as well as download PDF copies of their records, as well as access these invoices from within their learner app. And if you didn't know already, fee schedules was introduced this year, and in Wisenet, it allows you to create multiple finance item groups for courses or units tailored to different learner types, such as domestic, international, or partially funded learners, as I mentioned before. They can be assigned by default to ensure fees are automatically applied during enrollment or added manually if needed at a later point in time. And of course, funding records allow you to differentiate between items that are externally funded and those invoiced directly to learners or their workplaces. Now, funding records integrate seamlessly with fee schedules as well, where each schedule can be set by default as either externally funded or invoiced, and funding records are also excluded from journal reporting exports as they're primarily used for reconciliation rather than formal financial reporting. You can add, edit, and allocate funding methods to ensure accurate tracking and application of all funding sources across learners and enrollments. All right, now that we've covered the finance features that we released this year, from fee schedules and funding records to account management, the next step is making sense of all this data. Now, Wisenet's reporting and analytics tools provide centralized dashboards, live metrics, custom reports, and integrated data sources, giving you a complete real-time view of learner activity and financial performance. Now, Wisenet dashboards have evolved to give you a centralized view of key metrics in real time. You can stay on top of event alerts, new opportunities, incoming applications, auto grade updates, and other critical notifications. So you always know what requires attention and you can act proactively. You do have access to filtered lists on most of our main pages, and filtered lists allow you to drill down into specific learners, enrollments, or unit enrollments. You can monitor performance, identify trends, and segment data in real time to make informed decisions quickly and efficiently, and also bulk update any data as required. You can also export the data and pick the relevant fields to export from within these filtered lists. Journal reporting integrates finance and learner data for accurate accounting and reconciliation. So as you can see, Wisenet kind of offers multiple ways to interact with your data through reports, filtered lists, and dashboards. Now, while these features continue to evolve, many customers want more customized insights and the ability to combine Wisenet data with other sources. The Wisenet BI connector makes this easy and secure. It provides continuously updated data via queryable data models, allowing you to use tools like Power BI or Looker to build interactive dashboards, charts, and reports. Now, continuing on the topic of reporting, I'm going to hand over to Michelle, who will guide you through all the critical end-of-year reporting steps, from key dates to data checks and compliance updates. Over to you, Michelle. Thank you.
Thanks, Ash. Hi, everyone. It's great to see all these features that we've released that will support our providers to meet their compliance requirements, especially with all the changes to the ASQA standards. A lot of our features have been aligned with what's required for that, so that's great. But we're here for It's That Time again, time to get ready for your EVETMIS end-of-year reporting for fee-for-service customers. Now, the collection window is opening for submitting your 2025 data for the fee-for-service activity on the 1st of January 2026. And it will close on the 28th of February 2026, which is a Saturday. So plan ahead, validate your data early, and submitting on time helps all that last minute stress and ensures your compliance. So please refer to our Learn page on the VetMIS end of year data checks for guidance on the best practice for doing this. And also NCEVA's RTO Hub has fact sheets and step-by-step guides to help make the process simple. If you report your fee-for-service activity through your state training authority, make sure you check the dates and the timeframes that they will provide you. These deadlines for the 2025 end of year is usually mid-January for your 2025 data, and the start of 2026 data for your reporting is usually again at the end of January. So for the funded ones, you'll have 2 reporting periods in January next year. Now, communication is the key to simplifying your end of year process. Make sure and start making sure now that all your teams know the last day that you'll be entering 2025 data into Wisenet. And also identify and make sure everyone knows that the first day you'll be entering 2026 data into Wisenet. Communicate all of these as unit commencements in 2026 and completions for 2026 can't be entered into Wisenet and submitted until your 2025 data has been finalised and submitted and validated error-free. Now, for our clients also with the end of, with your e-learning integrations, also don't forget to communicate to them as well, because they will need to know when's the last day that they need to be updating anything in your e-learning systems that will be pushing into Wisenet that can also impact your end of year reporting. All right, so yeah, simplify your end of year reporting by being prepared. Run our data integrity reports to look for any missing data. Some common things are missing locations, missing or incorrect commencing course identifiers, missing unit hours and addresses. For things like the continuing outcomes that need to be pushed into the new year, and also end dates for your not yet started and start dates for your not yet started. You can use our enrolment update wizards to bulk update these. But make sure your teams know the impact of kicking out dates and changing dates, both financially and compliance-wise. Now, if you're new to end-of-year reporting, NCEVA has some very useful guides and fact sheets to assist you. You need to make sure that you're registered as a user, so make sure you get all this done before you go to do your submission, because if you're leaving it to the 28th, it can take some time to get through the hoops to be able to be registered as a user. You don't want to be leaving that to the Saturday when there's no one at NCEVA to help you. So make sure that you've logged in and registered and tested the system, and make sure that you're sort of submitting and checking your errors and getting those sorted out well before. I'd also remind you that even if you have no training activities to submit for 2025, you will need to submit a nil return, but also be mindful that ASQA has been considering nil returns as an indication that your RTO registration is no longer needed and have been cancelling those. So do consider, any data that you might have to submit for 2025 and use the nil return wisely, but don't just say, I've got nothing and don't do anything, because that's not a great idea either. All right, so when you submit your data in AVS using the NCEVA tool, you do get a summary report when you've uploaded, which tells you of any errors in your different NAT files. Drill into these errors and then download the report that shows you an export details spreadsheet, which will give you the details of the error and explain what it is and why, and also the records which has issues. Now, you can use both our Wisenet errors page and also NCEVA's guidance to drill into these errors and help to identify the issues. A reminder that we can help you with all of this. Our Learn page on our validation errors can help you with all of this. But again, don't forget that the time to submit is Saturday, so don't leave it to Saturday, because Wisenet's customer success team won't be available, will only be available until the Friday. And we often have a lot of people coming in with their issues at the last minute, so make sure that you get them in early and you've checked your data and are working your way through your errors. Fortunately, it's usually a lot of the errors are things that are, you might miss a location, but that'll impact your whole group of students. So it looks like you've got lots of errors, but it'll all just be one little change. We'll fix all of those. So if you have any concerns or questions, please get onto our team and log a support ticket, give us all the details, download that export details spreadsheet and submit that with your query, and we'll help you with that. And now the next news, this is the vet data streamlining program. Okay, so I know I've been speaking about this since, I don't know, 2022 or earlier even, but it is actually coming. So this is the system that's going to modernise the way that the vet student activity is collected. So currently it's called a VetMIS. That's all the statistics that you collect. All those statistics are given to the government bodies for them to make funding and budgeting decisions. The VetMIS, which is a VetMIS 8 at the moment, is going to be changed to the Vet Information Standard. At the moment, we haven't got the final guidelines on what that will look like. They've been in consultation with all the states to try and get all of that speaking the same language with all the states and territories. It will be released in March. And then we can start working on the new data fields for that and helping you with the changeover, because it'll mean, changing enrolment forms, application forms, us changing fields. We've already been working with DEWA and have access to the developer portal. So, we know we can get in there and we can start working on the integration that's going to be involved in all of this. But it will be a step-by-step thing. So the Vet Data Streamlining Program is basically 3 different components. So the Vet Information Standard, which replaces a VetMIS. It's also STARS, the Student and Training Activity Reporting System, cleverly called STARS, which will be a system instead of NCEVA AVS system that the data will go into. And instead of it being a download, upload, checking your errors thing, it will be an automatic sync system. So your data in Wisenet will feed automatically into the STARS system. So for those who already have higher ed or vet student loans and report taxi, a bit similar to that sort of thing. They're still negotiating on timeframes and things like that. So a lot of the state bodies want it to be monthly submissions. It won't be just one end of year submission. So make sure you get used to validating your data more often, because that's what's going to be happening in the future. It can't just be last minute throwing your data in before the end of year. It's going to be an automated sync that you'll need to push a confirm button and say, yep, submitting either monthly or maybe quarterly. They're still working that out at the moment. The transition time frame. So as I said, March, they're going to publish the vet data standards. So that's new VetMIS fields that we'll need to build in Wisenet, and you'll need to put on your enrolment forms. So we'll have those finalised by March next year. In July next year, they are planning on testing and commencing the rollout of this system to RTOs who are delivering fee-for-service data only. So it's coming close, and we've sort of have been in discussions of piloting the program to be working on that. But, at the moment we've got a developer portal, but there's nothing in it at the moment, and the STAR system hasn't been built quite yet, or it's not finalised yet. In January 27, the state training authorities will commence the funded submission into the STAR system. And then by January 29, all vet data submissions will be through the Vet Information Standard and into the STAR system. And the final submission for VetMIS data will be 28th of February 2029. So there's more information on the Vet Data Streamlining Program, but otherwise I'll keep you up to date with all of these. And as I said, if you have any questions or problems, let us know, log a support ticket. We're happy to help. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you, Michelle. All right. I just want to conclude by saying, everything you've seen today, automation, e-learning, integration, finance, reporting, support cases, it's all part of one connected system. It's already available, ready to be used. And as mentioned earlier, don't forget to take advantage of the Sales Plus campaign that we're running. You can grow your enrollments, automate your administrative load, and keep your learner data secure. Your onboarding costs have been waived this December. So speak with Nalina, our customer success partner, to learn more about this offer or even explore any other features you would like to revisit. Treat it as a discovery session to ensure you're getting the most value from your Wisenet subscription. There's a QR code on the screen, so just scan it so you can book a time with her. There's Nell. Hi, Nell. All right, so that brings us to the end of our session. Please note we are closed from 20th of December until the 5th of Jan. If you require any assistance, kindly place your tickets by at least 12 o'clock on the 19th of December so we have enough time to get back to you or help you with any issues. We will be back on the 5th, so obviously before the end of the year reporting, but if you're preparing for something and if you have anything and you need help, just, get it in by midday, 19th of December. Thank you. All right. So on behalf of the entire Wisenet team, I want to sincerely thank you all for being part of our journey. 2025 has been a year of growth, learning, and innovation, and none of it would be possible without your trust and partnership. And as we look ahead to 2026, we are super excited to continue this journey with you, delivering again, amazing features, insights, and support that kind of helps you focus on what matters most. And may it be a year of growth, achievement, and inspired success. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Thank you once again for joining us today. We're all going to stay back for some more time to answer any questions, so feel free to just reach out. And we had a very recent photo shoot. This is our entire team, so just wanted to just share it as part of this webinar. But yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for taking the time and joining us today. And we'll just open the floor for any questions, I guess. Thank you.
All right, so we do have one question from Rebecca regarding support cases. So let me read that out for everyone. Do case requests and replies save in the student's logbook?
No. So the support cases is a different feature, but if you go into your LRM, you'll see the cases tab. So it's like a ticketing system, right? So all those cases are going to be part of the cases tab, just like your tasks. They're not integrated with the logbook, but I think we can put it out to the product team to see if there's a way. But yeah, they are two different things. Because the cases, even in the learner app, is a different tab. So they'll have to go into their profile and click on cases to log a case. And learners usually don't have access to everything that you store within the logbook. So they've just kept it as two separate features for now. Hope that answers your question, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thanks, Ash. All right. Any more questions from anyone? Once again, it's Nalina here. If you haven't already, please do scan the QR code to book, a discovery session with myself, and we can talk about, what you're looking for your strategy for your business in 2026, whether that involves Sales Plus or not. I'm more than happy to have take the opportunity to have a chat before we close off this year. Right. Any other questions?
No more? Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thanks all again.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.